It should be alright. It's on the screen. Oh. Yeah. The only thing is, it's down to go forward, which seems a bit bizarre.
Okay.
Is that okay?
We started our peak and we go down.
I'll just check it is recording. Set it going in a moment. Stop. Yes, it's going.
Thank you. Okay, we've got just 20 minutes with you. We're starting a little bit late, so we'll try not to cut into a coffee break. We've tried to circulate and get to know you, but if you haven't figured out yet, I'm Nicola Buckingham, and
I'm Rachel.
we're not going to go into long introductions about who we are and our background. I'm happy to have that conversation with you. You'll be working with us throughout the coming year, so you'll get to know about us. We probably instilled enough fear already, telling you a clinical psychologist and asking you to come closer.
There are people who think that clinical psychologists have actual magic powers and know by which seat you sit in everything about your personality, but that's a myth.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll debunk a few myths as you meet us. There's stereotypes about psychologists, just like PhD students, I think. So
Yeah,
hopefully they will get exploded as we work together. Okay. So the first thing we wanted to say to you is just really to pause the week for a moment and say congratulations on getting here. I know how many times you've heard this week, hopefully a bit, but actually, to be sitting in those chairs that we forced you into this morning, you've actually had to do an awful lot. You've had to be an awful lot, you've had to bring an awful lot to get here, of skills, of qualities, of abilities, of potential. So you're here in the Centre of Excellence. That tells me something about the kind of people that are sitting in this room and the potential that you bring to this room. So well done for getting here. Congratulations.
And we want to just give you a very simple taster of CBC and what you might be doing when you're working with us. And one of the things that we do without effort, without really deciding not to, is we don't tend to stop and analyse success. Actually, problems have got to get pretty big to get our attention and for us to stop and think about them. But actually, what we want you to do is an exercise. Now, the word exercise, clinical psychologists, come closer. Okay, we probably need to say that we both think that people learn best and will make best use of CBC if you feel comfortable with us. So we're not aiming to give you, when we say exercises, we're not aiming to put you way out of your comfort zone. If we do, let us know, because that's not going to be productive. Okay? Hopefully some of the exercises will be fun. I hope they'll be interesting. And the very simple thing I want you to do is just to turn to your neighbour in 2s or 3s, and you'll have to lean over there. And just say, looking back over your educational journey to this point where you've been selected, this very prestigious programme, what got you through? What do you put down to your success so far? Now that might be personal resources, and I think it'd be fair if because I'm going to be asking for examples. I'll give you that warning that when you've done the exercise, I'll be asking people to tell me some of the things you've been talking about. So I'm going to tell you one of my resources that I think contributes to my success is I'm able to seek out work that I love, that fascinates me, and it doesn't feel hard work then. Okay? You might talk about outside resources that you've made good use of, the asking for help, which we just talked about. I'd say that one of the things that contributes to my success is I love to collaborate, and I really like to collaborate with people who are very different from me, because that creates a lot of what we're going to be looking at tomorrow afternoon, creativity. So if I give you a couple of examples, you know the kind of thing I'm wanting you to talk to your neighbour about, and I'll be asking for a few examples. And Rachel and I are so good at waiting, so if we ask you to tell us a few examples, we can wait till coffee to hear from you, okay? Because we want to be easy with you. We want to feel like our workshops with you are an easy conversation. Okay, so off you go. Take a couple of minutes, turn to people. They can be behind you, beside you, but make sure you're in a pair or a three. Great, thanks guys.
Maybe I think that I was chosen because I already have had experience. I said in my interview that I started my scientific activities when I was in my second year of studying. Yes, I went to the laboratory and I did my research starting from the third year, yes, and the fourth year I did an international conference in Ukraine. It is much more harder than here, yes, and maybe Professor Samuels understood that when you're trying to do science in Ukraine, it takes much more effort than here, and it requires more determination as well. So perhaps he thought that if he had done it there, here he would definitely do something.
Okay. I don't want to interrupt that conversation. I mean, maybe it's a conversation that I would encourage you to have some more with each other. One of the things that can happen is we can be not too good at thinking about what's gone well and what are our successes. It's really important. So can I have a few examples of the kinds of things you've been talking about?
Having a good support network of family and friends that you can turn to when you are struggling, when you just need to vent. Having someone to talk to, that's really helpful.
Yeah. What else?
Having the ability to disconnect and reconnect with work, that's, you've got to manage your time so that you can do it easily. You can flip from both.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, good point.
I was going to say, having good distractions. There's no point in having distractions if they're not good at distracting you.
Yes, yes. Really important. What else?
I spoke about my persistence and determination.
Yeah, and I think that's really nice. What I'd like to say that sometimes it's our qualities that other people might at times find difficult. So stubbornness, persistence, not giving up. That's a good quality. That's a very necessary quality. That's excellent. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
For what you're doing and stuff. What to continue.
Yeah. Just engaged. Yeah. What else?
Seeing like the bigger picture. By the end of this, I'll be extremely qualified, be able to get a job hopefully, or stay in academia.
Yeah, that's really important.
Financial security.
Yeah. Yeah. What else?
The ability to sort of just enjoy the company that you're in while you're doing the PhD for 4 years. You don't have to be shunned by everyone. Or shunning everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of conversation, hasn't there, about you as a cohort. And, really important. What else? I'm good at that one. What else?
Being able to rely on good staff to help you.
Right. Yeah. it's not all down to you, it's making use of people around you. Yeah. Great, thank you. Can you keep those in mind as we go through our presentation? So we'll be kind of coming back to that and picking up on some of those examples that you've used. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And whatever country you're sitting here having come from today, there are cultural norms and what we say about our strengths. You know, I know I'm from Northern Ireland, we don't talk about this, anybody, we don't talk about what we're good at, so well done for getting that out there. You've got here, you're in the centre of excellence, you've done really well to get here. You've got all these strengths and you've drawn on all these resources that you've talked about already. But you're at the beginning of something new, you know, and I guess for some of you sitting in the room today, all the talks you've had this week, it feels like you're facing down that track, you know, you're waiting for the gun to go, and it feels like you've got to get off those blocks pretty quick, because you've got a 6-month project to do, you've got to think about who you're going to be employed by in 4 years' time, and it's, you know, there's a race, a journey you're about to embark on, that you're getting geared up from, that you bring all of those things you've just spoken about too, but it's a new journey, it's a new race, and we already know from what Bill said earlier on the week, it's a demanding journey. Yeah? It's actually one that's going to hurt. Nothing like that for a motivational speech, is there? It's going to hurt. But actually, in science, we need to go beyond the place where thinking begins to hurt. You've heard about actually the hurdles, the demands that are ahead of you are going to be part of what get you where you want to go. It's necessarily demanding process to get through this PhD, and it's going to give you a heck of a lot when you get through those hurdles, when you go through that thing, but because you're going to be able to understand things differently, but you're going to need to know actually where your understanding fails. That can be a painful, demanding journey, looking at those areas of the edges of our knowledge and moving beyond them. So you're excellent, you're in the centre of excellence, you're in this room. You've got demands ahead of you. What's going to enable you to run the fastest? Not in a competitive sense for people next to you, run your fastest. What's going to enable you to be excellent? And I guess, again, we're good at asking questions, they know psychologists, but what makes Usain Bolt the fastest man in the world?
Trains hard.
He trains hard. Okay, so I'm going to start Usain Bolt's training schedule tomorrow. Do you think I'm going to get? No? Really? I'd like to think you have a bit more belief in me than that. What else makes Usain Bolt the fastest man in the world?
His will.
His what?
His will.
His will. Yeah.
To train.
And to echo what you were saying about persistence and determination a little bit earlier on, doesn't it? His will to train. So he's got a training schedule, he's got a will to train. What else?
He's got good people to train him.
Yeah, so we've talked a bit about social support, haven't we? We've got good people to train him.
Commitment.
Commitment, absolutely. That will, that persistence, that determination, and that commitment to just keep going.
He's built for it as well. I mean, he's got a natural advantage there as well.
Yeah. Okay. So this tells us a bit about what makes excellence, and it tells us a bit, just a little snapshot. Obviously, this is a sporting sphere. I'm not suggesting that you're all going to be, on the track literally tomorrow. But actually, we know that natural talent is something that gets us places, right? But it's by no means the whole story. And actually, what you started with was the bit that people often forget, that actually you can have all the natural talent and your body can be built in a certain way, but you're not going to get to be the fastest guy in the world if you don't train, if you're not persistent, if you're not determined, if you're not committed, if you don't have good people around you, if you don't have the advice of people around you that can spot things that you can't see, who know where your knowledge reaches its edges, to help you persist beyond the point where it hurts, and to help you know which way to go and when. So this is a guy born with massive natural talent. He's also a guy born with a congenital spine defect that he needed to learn to train around, because he was going to get injured if he trained in certain ways and not in others. So excellence is something that you all bring to this program, potential in so many different ways, so many qualities you bring, but actually being able to train it in different ways and think about things in different ways and draw on these resources is going to be important.
Okay, so I hope by now are curious, what is cognitive behavioural coaching? What are they going to be doing? What's it all about? So we've enjoyed the meetings and the conversations we've had so far, coming up the hill from psychology, meeting physicists, getting to know physicists. But we also have our own academic traditions and our own research and knowledge. And the one thing that psychologists were very good at early on was asking very biased questions. We became mesmerised by distress. So the questions in our research were always, what doesn't work? What's that problem like? The question as practitioners, as people who work with others, was always about distress. It's always about things going wrong. One of the things that has been coming through our discipline, like a breath of fresh air, and gaining momentum, especially since the millennium, has been asking different questions. What does success look like? So there is a whole area of research actually specifically looking not just at education generally, but at PhD education. And there's some exciting new questions now being asked and some interesting answers. So people are saying, what does success look like? A little bit like the exercise we've just given you, to actually stop and think about what are the success factors. Thank you, Rachel. Now, it isn't actually, we would say, all down to you. If you look in the literature, if you look at the studies, that actually there are 3 sources of success. You are one of them, taking that natural talent and making good use of it. But there's also a lot of work on the supervisory relationship. And what have you got? You've got 2 supervisors and a mentor and a buddy and 18 other people in your cohort. So that's a lot of relationships. A lot of success factors are about you making good use of those relationships and the other people you're in that relationship with making good use of those relationships too. Okay? And there's been a lot of work recently looking at the program, looking at the program and planning that's put into place for people like yourselves. What are the success factors? And I have to say, I've heard a lot of them so far this week has been designed into the program you're coming into. But 4 years financial security, it's great. A lot of PhD students, researchers, talk about financial worries, the need to teach, the distraction of that being a problem. But having 4 years good funding, not good enough on its own. Running your own budget. It's great to have your own budget. You're going to need to ask about spending that wisely. So in each of those areas of success, whether it's the program and all they have ready for you, the many relationships, the supervisors, the mentors, the buddies and each other have to be made good use of, and the qualities, the raw talent, it's about actually making good use of that. If you need to take away one thing from today, and we will be kind of working with you later this term on this topic, is that you need to cultivate your ability to adapt, okay? So we asked you to think about the kinds of things that have contributed to your success so far. Some of those you might try on this PhD journey and find they don't work for you. So you need to be flexible. You need to have the ability to adapt to the demands that are being made of you. And if I could say what CBC was in a very simple form, it's saying stop and think. Yeah? Stop and think, and I would say notice what's working, and if it's working, do it again. Notice what doesn't work and stop and try something different. As human beings, we're awfully good at not analysing what works, not then being able to write good CVs and good applications because we don't know, we haven't known what we're really good at and what works for us. And we can be very good at trying the same thing. This has always worked for me, I'll try it again. And we don't try it once, stop, and then try something different. We try the same approach again and again because it's a habit. So CBC is a lot about making you aware of your habits. And as psychologists, we know you can change those habits in order to adapt and to progress and develop your intellectual capacity. Okay.
So part of that, like you said, there's lots of different factors that contribute to your success, and part of it is the stuff that goes on inside your head and what that makes you do. And that's part of the CBC program, thinking about, when I hit a demand, what do I think that's helpful to get me through, and how does that influence what I do to get through it, and how can I maximise that, keep doing it, and what do I think that draws me back, what are the thoughts that occur to me that don't help me adapt to that demand or that challenge and put into place the most helpful habits and behaviours. So how can I actually think about what I think and think about what I do and change that, maximising the good and eliminating the unhelpful, whilst understanding that it's completely normal to hit points where my brain hurts and that's part of the progress. Yeah? So it's turning those moments, turning those setbacks actually that you have over the next 4 years into the most important opportunities for learning. Those are your golden moments when your brain starts to hurt and when it feels like you're sabotaging your own progress or things you're doing are just not moving you forward. Actually, those are the golden opportunities for learning and developing, both as a scientist and just as a person learning to adapt to all the different environments you will go into in the future as well. That'll get you the goal of your PhD, but will get you beyond that as well.
We wanted to just say, do you recognise these quotes from this week? Who that might have been? That was the postdocs that came in and talked to you. Yeah? If only it was as simple that they've kind of given you the inside track, you've done that exercise about what works. CBC acknowledges that knowing what to do isn't the same as being able to do it. Yeah? So there's all sorts of ways in which CBC can help you when you're clear about your goal, you're clear about what you need to do, to actually do it.
So we just wanted to end with this, which again kind of summarises a little bit about this aspect of adaptability, which is, as Nikki said, one of the most important messages really to take away from today. Two of the fastest men in the world now. Apologies if you're not into athletics, I'm not really too, but therefore I know these are quite recognisable people because I know who they are. So the point here is, yes, they're fast, they're excellent, they train hard, they do all those things. But you take Mo Farah away from the 5,000 and 10,000 metres and put him in a marathon race, he's still pretty good. He's still got a lot of natural talent, he still moves well, he's still got all that commitment and perseverance and persistence that he had when he was gold medalist at the Olympics. But actually, he finishes a good 2 minutes behind the leaders in the pack when he adapts to a new race. You're at the beginning of a new race now. Don't underestimate what you bring to this race when you hear about all the challenges ahead. But actually, learning to adapt and thinking about what you do and thinking clearly about what you do that works and what doesn't, thinking about your thinking, thinking about your approach will allow you to transfer from one kind of race to another and to excel and to grow and go beyond where you are right now. And hopefully to your own personalised goals, whatever it is, the prize at the end, maybe a PhD, it may be something actually quite subtle and different to what you're hoping to get out of this next 4 years. But you can adapt, you bring a lot to it, and hopefully what we do will help you think about how you can apply that and move further, run faster, but stronger, and the demands, the tough bits, are actually the golden opportunities.
Just aware we're going into coffee break. We'll see you in term 1, and we'll see you for more intensive workshops in term 2 when that 6-month project begins to bite. Yeah? So We want a working relationship with you. Do come and chat with us in the coffee. And I'm coming in tomorrow to sit in Dennis's creativity. So 2 programs work really well together. Thanks for your contribution. Do keep in touch.
We'll break for coffee now for about 20 minutes or so. If I could have a volunteer or two to help us set up coffee very quickly, we'll drink it fast.
Yeah.
It soon.
I want a coffee. Yeah,
I think so, yes.